Now the weather's really cooling down, so I love to give you many different options on how to slow cook meat. This is my very delicious lamb shank and red wine stew, and I'm going to be doing it in the pressure cooker. So we need to start with some aromatics, classic flavors in a stew, some celery, so that's 1 stick of celery that's been cut into battens. Carrots are crucial for this because it's going to impart a sweetness. So again, cutting them into battens, I cut them in half first and then cut them into long pieces. You do want to cut everything roughly in the same size because we want it to cook evenly when it's under pressure. So into the bowl, along with some onion. So just 1 onion that I'm going to cut into wedges. And what I'm doing here is just showing you the marinating process. Marinating the night before is a no-brainer, and the reason is that wine is going to marinate the meat, making it taste 10 times better than cooking it immediately. This is a very provincial thing to do with stews, adding a little bit of orange zest. So just with a peeler, peel 1 long strip of orange, and we'll take that out at the very end. Now for the lamb shanks. I've asked my butcher to French the lamb shanks. He just cleans up the bone and just exposes it a little bit. These are small lamb shanks. The smaller the better because they're going to be more tender and less mutton flavour-like. So in with 4 lamb shanks, and we're just going to coat it in our carrots, onion and celery, and something that's synonymous with lamb, that has to be rosemary. Now for the wine. I like a combination of red wine and port. So what I've done is place 750 millilitres of red wine, like a Shiraz or a Cabernet Sauvignon, something that's quite strong in flavour, along with some port for some sweetness, and just allowed it to bubble away for about 8 to 10 minutes. By doing this, we're cooking off the alcohol and concentrating the red wine flavour, and just submerging the lamb shanks into the red wine. And now this goes in the fridge for 24 hours, even better if you're really, really organised. Do this 48 hours ahead of time. Now I've pre-marinated some lamb shanks, and I want to show you how much this changes. Look how stained the lamb shanks become. That's a good sign. Now we need to start cooking and sealing off the lamb shanks. So in my pressure cooker, I've been preheating it and it's ready to go now. And just to give the sauce a little bit of thickness, I always like to coat my lamb shanks or any meat that you're using with a little bit of flour. I'll just sprinkle that over. And then just with a little bit of paper toweling, drain off some excess wine. So just shake them. You don't want to lose any of that liquid because that's going to make our sauce. And then just pat them dry into the flour and rub the flour all over the little lamb shanks. Now sometimes lamb shanks can be a little expensive, so another great option is to use some lamb neck. It has the bone in it and has so much flavour. Also lamb shoulder works really nicely for this recipe. You can ask your butcher just to cut it up into big pieces with the bone in it. All right, now that I've dusted that, shake off excess, a good glug of olive oil into our pressure cooker, and we'll start the sealing process off. So in with the lamb shanks. Don't overcrowd the pot. We want to add 2 lamb shanks at a time. What I'll also do is strain this liquid into another bowl, and then I'll cook all our vegetables before returning the lamb shanks. Now that the vegetables have coloured, I can return our little lamb shanks, and we'll just make sure that they're in the pot in 1 even layer, just so I can cover it with all of the red wine. Now we've pre-cooked the red wine, so we don't have to wait for it to reduce. In it goes, and that's the basis of our sauce. But just to make sure that there's extra sauce, I'll add some chicken stock. You can use beef stock, chicken stock, or if you've made some lamb stock, even better. Now I want to season this again with a bit of salt, and for those classic flavours that go with this red wine stew, mushrooms and French shallots. I'll leave the French shallots whole. I've just peeled them. These are going to turn lovely and sweet once they've cooked for that 45 minutes. And then for the mushrooms, just classic button mushrooms that I'll cut in half and a nice big generous handful of them. The best way to clean them is just with a damp towel or with a little brush and just brush off any dirt that remains on the mushroom. Okay, that's plenty, and they can go into our pressure cooker. Also, a good crack of pepper. Now we can place the lid on and lock it so it's secure. And then all I have to do is press quick cook, and we'll put that on for 45 minutes to an hour. These lamb shanks are quite small, so 45 is plenty. And the meat is going to be falling off the bone as if it's been cooking for 3 hours. Now, the lamb shanks have cooked, and I've just placed them on reheat so they can stay warm while I prepare the garnish. Now, you can serve this with whatever you like. Mashed potato, pappardelle pasta, some baked rice is fantastic, or just some simple greens. And now, to serve it, I'll just get some tongs to carefully take the lamb shanks. Look how great they look. They look like little lollipops. And the second lamb shank, I'll just let it rest on each other. And then the sauce is my favourite part. It's thickened up a little bit. You know, this is a one-pot wonder, 45 minutes, and it smells like it's been cooking for hours. And the garnish, which is some simple parsley, I'm leaving it whole, but you can finely chop it. That is what I call a sensational winter warmer. It's done with speed, it's simple, and there's so much flavour. All right, I'm gonna have a taste of this. I wanna show you how soft this is and how it falls away from the bone. Oh, look at that. That's why people love lamb shanks so much. And in a thick sauce, win-win.